Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Please continue to pray for me by leaving a dislike on this video. I've been getting a lot of likes as of late. I really want dislikes because I have not been feeling very well. I just finished a lecture, and as soon as I walked out of the classroom, it's like I went back to feeling shitty again. And now I have no ride back home, so I thought it'd be a perfect time to ask for some prayers. I continue to feel lost and confused, and it saddens me to see October is almost ending, and there's no end in sight to this situation. And I'm starting to regret my move into Arizona. You see, what I didn't think about was that when I was living in Seattle, when I was lost and confused, I could always go to Ellensburg. Those two places are night and day, right? Seattle is one of the biggest cities in the United States. Ellensburg is a farming community, pretty much. I mean, they do have Central Washington University, and what I didn't think about was that here in Phoenix, you could drive hours and hours. Right? In fact, Phoenix to Apache Junction, where I now live, could be an hour during the rush hour, right? You go further east, I guess there is Globe, Arizona, but that's still desert like. You really have to drive at least 10, 12 hours before you even feel like you've had a change in scenery. I didn't think about that. Whereas over in Seattle to Ellensburg is only 2 hours away. In fact, I discovered Ellensburg quite by accident um, during my time living there. I didn't really think about that. It is very difficult to network with anybody here because all of the activities are, again, my first time trying to go to an activity, I turned on my GPS, and my GPS had barked out, drive 15 miles and then turn right, something like that. And I was so upset about how far that was. This was right as we had just reopened. Gas prices were not cheap at the time. This was around the time of Putin. And I was so upset that the GPS had said 15 miles that I started to sing a parody of the Erie Canal song. I sang 15 miles on the mega highway. And to help cope with having to drive 15 miles. So I'm going to apply for a couple more jobs in the either Coeur d'Alene, Idaho area, because I could live in Wallace at that point. If I lived in Wallace, Wallace has a lot of space compared to Phoenix. I'll probably have area to work with my metal casting. Right now, where I live, I really don't have the luxury of doing that. Uh, I think there's a lot more opportunities to sell art over there, right? And I'll probably start to complete my career pivot into art uh, once I get there. It's I would say it's a lot easier to network with people there. Yes, the demographics are a little bit older, but you know what? I got along with a lot of these people, and I think it would be a lot easier to ask these people to help me network with their kids, right? Their grown kids. Wallace, Idaho is full of 50, 60, 70-year olds, and I got along with them actually very well. I was staying in the Ryan Hotel. I'll let you Google that. The Ryan Hotel. They had closed off to tourists during COVID. They were only doing monthly rents, and her name is the owner. Her name is Donna, I think, and she had helped introduce me to other people there, and then I got to know the one of the people who run the one of the tourist locations. I think her name is Shauna. She ran the depot station. They have a gift shop and all that events, and if I were still living, this was during COVID, so she might not have done that at the time. But if I were still living there, I think it would be very easy for me to ask her to introduce me to either her daughter, her niece, right? And so, but unfortunately, my career doesn't really line up until I make the 100% pivot into my art career. My career doesn't really line up with Wallace, Idaho. But I'm starting to have second thoughts on moving here. The problem is, I moved to Phoenix. It was a mistake, but I landed two dream jobs here, and now I can't get out. That's the funny part of it. It's kind of like maybe you and your friend were stupid and you made a bet on who could buy the best cryptocurrency. You bought it; it was a mistake, but now it's worth millions of dollars, right? It kind of feels like that. Any traction with the Japanese? Well, it didn't turn bad, but it didn't really go anywhere. Let's put it that way. So again, that's another reason why I might not want to leave the Phoenix area just now, because I want to see how that plays out. But then I have to drive 15 miles on the mega highway just to go see her, at more than 15 now, right? And so just very upsetting set of circumstances. And sometimes, like today, I was hiding out in the classroom teaching math to kind of get over all of this. And as soon as the class ended, it was like when I opened the door to walk out of the classroom, it was like a ton of bricks hit me in the head. It really did feel that way today. It really, I'm not exaggerating by that. I literally have to hide by working. And unfortunately, I can't even do that very much anymore because I can't focus on my driving. And I actually, I actually walked here today, and now I don't know how to get back. It's a good 2 miles away. I don't really want to walk back at the moment. And even then, I almost got hit by several cars on my way here. Can't focus on anything these days, and I wonder what they say if you text and drive, it's like having a blood alcohol of 0.1. I'm probably way worse than that in terms of blood alcohol equivalents, right? I'm probably more like a 0.2 or 0.3. I've had friends who had alcohol problems. They probably drive better than I would today if I were driving, right? I actually don't trust myself, and so what I did was I put my car keys. It's a push button start. Put my car keys in a Ziploc bag, and I put that in a bucket of ice, and then I put a bucket of water, and then I put that in the freezer, thick enough so that it would block the signal from the car, just so that I wouldn't drive, because I don't trust myself anymore. And so I can't focus. And the holidays are coming up. That's going to be a dreadful to have the holidays either stuck here in Phoenix alone, like I was last year. That was pretty dreadful. Or go somewhere and then wonder what my life is going to be like when I get back. Well, that's going to be dreadful too. I even researched it, if there's anything I can do to hibernate through the winter season. Like, is there a pill you can take to sleep for 2 weeks in a row or something like that? And I even researched if that was possible. What if there's an emergency? You have an ice pick. Well, depends on what would call for an emergency that would require me to drive, especially when I'm already impaired, right? Pretend I was constantly drinking like a beer every half hour, right? You got to treat it like that, right? Involuntarily, right? And so that's why I have to give up the car at the moment, right? All right. So I almost feel like I could die. Like I feel my stomach is off. I can't focus, and I'm already running into the great risk of accidents day in and day out, right? But I also feel like I could also have physical issues, right? I'll probably, every day that I live like this probably shortens my life expectancy by another day on the back end, right? Easily, right? And the nice Japanese lady needed help type of emergency. Well, they do later this winter when I do fly to Taiwan. If I do, the flight attendant will probably say that if there's an emergency, you put on your own oxygen mask before helping other people, right? And so right now, staying away from the car is like putting on my own oxygen mask, right? It won't be very helpful if I get into a car accident and kill somebody else and myself before I get to her, right? So that's that, right? All right, continue to pray for me, leaving it. Please do not like this video. Please dislike it. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.